Hi, welcome to High Road. My name's Andrew, and in this video you're going to learn how to comp vocals in Pro Tools. This video follows on from a previous one I made called How to Record Multiple Takes in Pro Tools. So if you've come here from that video, then you're all set. If you haven't watched that video though, there might be some prior knowledge or some skills that you need to catch up on. So before we jump in, just keep in mind this is not really a beginner video, it's more of an intermediate video with some prior knowledge required. In particular, you need to be fairly comfortable using Pro Tools, you need to know how to make tracks, record audio onto those tracks, use the transport controls to play and stop and record and all that sort of stuff. But most importantly, you need to know how to use the playlist feature and how to record multiple takes into multiple playlists. So if you can do all that, then you're ready for this video and we can get started. So let's clarify what comping is. Comping is when you create a composite of all the best bits of your takes. So essentially you've recorded multiple takes of the same part and you want to choose the best bits and put them into one master take. That's a composite, and that's what comping is. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to be using an original song of mine called Way to the World. It's easier to use original music on YouTube like this so that I don't run into any copyright issues. I'll play you a little bit of the first verse just so you get an idea of how the song goes.
Once we knew the way, we lost it in the fray, brushed it to the side, God knows that we tried. Ooh, it feels so strange to turn another page, thought that we could change, guess we can't guess again. Ooh, the weight of the world, yeah, yeah. Ooh, the weight of the world, yeah, yeah.
So what you just heard was actually a composite that I've already done of this vocal. So if we zoom in here, you can see that every couple of lines of the song is a different color. So they've actually been compiled from different takes. Let's have a look at those takes for a moment. So if I scroll up and I go to playlist view, there we go. Those are all my vocal takes. So it looks like I've done about 6 vocal takes. And then if we scroll towards the end, I think I had another 3 goes at the final couple of lines there. So basically 6 takes and 3 extras of the last couple of lines. So because this is color coded, you can see where I've taken each piece from. This one here was taken from that take. The purple one here was taken from this one. The slightly darker purple one looks like it was taken from there. This piece was taken from that track. This piece was taken from, I think, this track. This one was taken from that one, red, and then yellow. So to show you the process that I used, I'm going to create a brand new empty playlist, and I do that by going over to the little blue triangle here, the playlist selector. I'm going to choose new, and I'm going to type in Vox Comp Demonstration, and now I've got an empty slot there to work with. If we scroll down here, you can see that the original composite that I made has just been relegated to the bottom playlist now. So to create a composite of all the best bits, there's 2 main approaches we could use. The first one is we listen line by line, take by take, and try to assemble something with all the best bits that we like. When you do that approach though, sometimes you end up with all these different bits that are apparently the best bits, but they don't necessarily fit together, and they don't sound like they all belong together as one take. The other approach is to pick whichever one you think is the strongest take out of the bunch and use that as your starting point, and then just replace the bits that you don't like. So let's try that second way. I'm going to choose whichever one I think is the best overall take. Now, looking at this from memory, I believe that this take here, the red one, was a pretty strong take overall. It was the second last take that I did. This one is actually the 5th take, but if you look over to the left, you can see that Pro Tools has a numbering system which starts at 0. So the first take was called New Vox, the second take is called New Vox 01. So just be aware of that your first take will be essentially numbered 0, your second take will be numbered 1, your third take will be numbered 2. Try not to get confused. First thing we need to do is copy that take into the target playlist above. We do that by going over to the left here, and you'll see a little up arrow. And what that does is it copies that selection to the target playlist above. So if I press it, there we go. It's made a copy, and that's going to be my starting point. So let's listen to the first line of that take.
Once we knew the way,
pretty good.
Once we knew the way,
Let's listen to the second line.
we lost it in the fray.
It's also pretty good.
Brushed it to the side.
I think I heard a funny little warble in my voice on that third line.
Brushed it to the side.
So I'm going to solo that and get rid of all the instruments. I'm just going to go over to the left, press solo, and listen to that a bit more closely.
Brushed it to the side.
Yeah, it's just, maybe I used a bit too much vibrato, but something about that line's not quite the way I like.
Brushed it to the side.
So let's replace that line first. To do that, I've got to listen through the other takes and choose one that is a bit better. So clicking down below, I'm going to solo my first track, which is numbered 0.
Brushed it to the side.
Didn't like that one, it was a bit pitchy.
Brushed it to the side.
That one's not too bad.
Brushed it to the side.
That was quite strong, I like that one. So I'm just going to go with that one for now. So if I select that line and then press the up arrow, it gets pasted over the old one. Let's listen to how that fits with the line before.
We lost it in the fray. Brushed it to the side.
Yeah, I like that, it's better. All right, let's listen to the fourth line.
God knows that we tried.
That's a bit flat on the end of that line. Now my preference here is to go straight to the last take that I pasted from and see what that one sounds like, because of all the takes, that's the one that's going to fit the best as the next line. So let's have a listen to it.
God knows that we tried.
Yeah, that's actually pretty strong. So there's two ways I could do it. I could grab that piece and paste it up top, or I'll undo that. I can actually go up here to the trim tool and I can drag my selection across, which essentially does the same thing. Let's have a listen to that.
Brushed it to the side. God knows that we tried.
All right, so that's sounding pretty solid to me. Let's check out line number 5 now.
Ooh, it feels so strange. Ooh, it feels so strange.
Again, something's a bit funny about that take. I reckon there might be a better one. Let's try the last take, because probably there's a reason why I did one more take, right? So I'll go over to the left and solo the last take.
Ooh, it feels so strange.
Yeah, it's okay. Let me try a different one.
Ooh, it feels so strange.
Well, I like that one. This is the fourth take, which is numbered 03. So I'll grab that one and paste it in. Okay, let's hear the next line.
To turn another page.
Yeah, that's fine.
To turn another page.
Now we're up to line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, line 7 now.
Thought that we could change. Guess we can't guess again. Ooh.
Okay, I like line 7, but line 8, where I jumped into the falsetto up there, I think could be a little better. So let's try the last take.
Guess we can't guess again. Ooh.
Yeah, that's good. So I'll grab that one. All right, now we're into the chorus, and there's only a couple of lines in the chorus, so we're nearly there. Let's have a listen to what's already there.
The weight of the world, yeah, yeah. The weight of the world, yeah, yeah.
It's okay, but let me listen to another take, see if I got a better one.
The weight of the world, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I like the final take better. So once again, I'm going to use the trim tool to kind of draw that across like that. All right, let's listen to the next bit.
Ooh, the weight of the world, yeah, yeah.
It's okay, but I think I might have a better one. So let's listen to the last take, which has had some good stuff in it.
Ooh, the weight of the world, yeah, yeah.
It's better. I liked the falsetto note, so I might grab that. So now we just need to find a good bit of this. Okay, let's try take 4, which is numbered 03.
Weight of the world, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. Take 3, which is numbered 02.
Weight of the world, yeah, yeah.
I think I might go with take 4. So I'll pop that up there. And we're done. So that's verse, pre-chorus, and chorus. And you can see there that I've actually grabbed from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different takes to put that together. Okay, so we've got ourselves a basic composite now of the first verse, pre-chorus, and chorus. But it's a bit of a mess at the moment. We need to tidy it up with editing. I'll show you why we need to do that. I'm going to zoom in on this little area here. You can see that because of the way it's been copied and pasted, I've got a little bit from one take, a little bit from another take, and a little snippet in between, and they don't all fit together. So if I solo this track and hit play, it'll probably sound glitchy.
Ooh, the weight of the...
Do you hear that little glitch sound in there? I'll play it again.
Ooh, the weight of the...
Right, so that's why we need to edit, because that doesn't sound right. It sounds like it's been copied and pasted. So let's go back to the first line and start there. I'm going to jump back to waveform view so that I'm not distracted by seeing all those other playlists there. And I'm also going to go over here to the right, and this is an audio zoom tool, which is very handy. I'm going to increase my zoom so that I can see little details. For instance, this little piece here is probably a breath or maybe some lip noise or something, and I wouldn't have been able to see that when it was at the current zoom. So when you zoom right in, you can see those little details which help you to choose where the edit points are going to be. First of all, I'm going to chop a little bit off the front of this line, and then I'm going to create a little tiny, very quick fade in, which is just a nice, neat little thing to do. So I'm going to press Control F, and I'm just going to choose the default option of a standard equal power fade in. There we go. And that just means that if there was any background noise in the recording leading up to my first line, it's all been kind of chopped out and it keeps the recording clean. Okay, let's move along here to the first edit point. Now if I zoom in here, you can see that this breath, I'm assuming it's a breath, let's play it. Yeah, it's a breath. That breath, the edit point is a little bit close to that breath for my liking. So I'm going to use the trim tool, and I'm going to move the edit point maybe to about there. Keep it out of the way. All right, let's move along a bit further. Here's my next edit point. Oh, what a mess. Okay, so let's play this little section here. So that's a breath from 3 different takes, all kind of mangled together. Generally speaking, from having done this a lot, I recommend that you should take the breath from the line that's coming. So I'm going to drag that along, and that's the one that that'll probably sound the best. Let's move along. Same thing here. I'm going to take the breath from the line that's coming. You really want to have your edit points where there's not a lot happening. You don't want to have an edit point in the middle of a word or the middle of a phrase or the middle of a breath. You want it to be somewhere reasonably silent so that no one notices the edit point. Okay, there's another one. So I'm going to drag that edit point over to the left of the breath. This is a tricky one here because I'll zoom in even a little bit further. If I follow my own rule and I take the breath from the line that's about to come, you can see that there's a bit of a dangerous overlap there where I might be cutting off the previous line a bit too early. So I think that should be a safe spot to do it. All right, let's move along. If you ever get into that trouble, you can always, break the rule and take the breath from the previous line. Whichever one sounds better, use that one. Okay, here's another one. So I'm going to drag that one to the left. Let's try going the other way. Yeah. I think that'll work. Let me just have a quick listen to that spot there.
The way.
It's always tricky to pick an edit point in the middle of a line because I think that's right on the word the, and it's kind of an aggressive sound. The point that I've chosen there seems to be working okay.
The way to the way.
Alright, let's move to the next one. Oh, I think that might be it. Okay, so I'm just going to delete this little leftover here and drag this one out a little bit. Okay, and that's the last little bit of breath on the end there. So let me zoom back out just quickly, and I'm going to put a fade out on the end of that line. I just select the last little bit of that audio clip there and I press Control F, and then pretty much just choose the standard options of equal power, standard shape, and there we go. All right, let's zoom out and take a look at the whole thing that we've done. There it is. Okay, we're almost there. If we played this right now, it's probably going to sound fine. Because we've chosen all the right edit points, there's probably not going to be any audible glitches. However, it's a good practice to go through and add little crossfades on all those edit points anyway. Let me show you how that works. I'll grab my magnifying tool, and I've already got a fade on this first part of the clip here, so I don't need one there. Now if I zoom in on the first edit point here, in order to place a crossfade there, I just have to select a little bit from each clip like that, an overlapping selection. Then once again I press Control F and I just select the default option. Standard in shape, equal power, and standard out shape. Press OK, and there it is. So that's like putting a little piece of tape over the join. It smooths it out, and it means that as one clip plays into the next, it's going to be a totally smooth transition, no glitch, no click or pop, nothing that would give away that this has been edited. So let's scroll across to the next one. Okay, I'm going to put crossfade there. I like to do these manually because then I'm kind of in control of how they're being done, and sometimes you might want to use some subjectivity in your decision making here, though if you want to, Pro Tools does have an automatic way of making crossfades. Right, I'm going to do this one a little bit uneven, like that. Very good. This one I'm going to zoom right in on. Because this is a tricky area, I'm going to be very careful here and just kind of try not to catch too much of either clip. But you can see when you zoom out, that's like a very tiny crossfade, really tiny, and we're done. Now that those crossfades are done, I'm going to go back and listen to each of those edit points individually just to make sure there's nothing funny going on. So I'll solo the track so there's no background music playing. So I'll go to the first edit point and just play a little bit from before that.
In the fray, brushed it.
Yep, that's pretty seamless. Let's try the next one.
Ooh, if
Yep, next one.
strange to turn another
Next one.
change. Guess we
And the last one.
ooh, the way to the world.
Okay, so those edit points are now completely seamless. The crossfades have kind of smoothed out those transitions, so there's no clicks or pops or glitches. And if we play this whole thing start to finish, it should sound like it was done in one take. Let's hear how it sounds in the mix.
Once we knew the way, we lost it in the fray. Brushed it to the side. God knows that we tried. Ooh, it feels so strange to turn another page. Thought that we could change. Guess we can't guess again. Ooh, the way to the world, yeah, yeah. Ooh, the way to the world, yeah, yeah.
There you go. So as you can see, this is a very painstaking, detailed process. You have to go through your takes with a fine-tooth comb to find the best bits, and then when you're editing, you have to go through with a fine-tooth comb and make sure that all your edit points are in the right spots, that your crossfades are placed where they should be, and if you do all that, the payoff is a final composite take that sounds great. I also want to point out that this technique can be used on any instrument. This is not just about comping vocals. You can comp acoustic guitars, bass, drums, backing vocals, absolutely anything can be comped in the same way. If you're willing to put in the time and effort and be meticulous, you can really end up with a great result. Now, if you weren't aware of this process of comping before you watch this video, you might be thinking that this process is a little bit contrived or fake, because I've essentially created a perfect take there that didn't really exist in real life. And I suppose there is some truth to that, but the thing to realize is that ever since the earliest days of multi-track recording in the 60s, bands like the Beach Boys and the Beatles and Jimi Hendrix and everyone ever since has been using recording trickery and recording techniques like these to get the outcome that they want. Back in the tape days, it was a technique called punching in and out, or even just the ability to record multiple takes on multiple tracks and choose the one that you want, is a very similar process to what we're using here. This is just a little bit more convenient. And even if you don't use it to create a detailed composite like I have here, you might just use it to replace one little blemish in a take, rather than having to delete the whole thing and start again. You can use this as much or as little as you want. It's just another tool at your disposal. Well, I hope this video has been helpful. If you're after some more videos on related topics, check the description below for some links. As always, if you want to make music, record music, and build musical stuff, start now by subscribing below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.